Alright guys, hey there, Crystal from See That Candles and Soaps, and we are doing some bubble bath today. I'm trying out a different recipe for my bubble bath. The last one I made was not a good bubble bath, so I am trying someone else's recipe. This is mainly coconut oil. So I'm doing the 40-60 method. That means 40% sodium hydroxide to 60% potassium hydroxide. And I am doing, I think this is 85% coconut oil and 15% canola oil. So I'm doing a 30-ounce batch. So I've got 25.5 ounces of coconut oil, and then I've got 4.5 ounces of canola oil. Hopefully this will give us some big bubbles. We like big bubbles, yeah, especially for bubble bath.
Needs a lot more bubbles.
Yeah, we tried the bubble bath, and I tried a lower amount of coconut oil, and it did not work. So there's that. And then we're doing the alcohol method. So we need 2 ounces of alcohol. The last time I did this method, I had to take my crock pot out of the crock because it was it got way too hot. So, and I'm only doing 2 ounces this time, and I like the alcohol method better than the glycerin method. It's a lot cheaper, and it works just as well. So there's our little 2 ounces of alcohol, and I need to turn this off because my battery's not the greatest there. So let's go ahead and see what the temperature is on this. 150, 147. Okay. We can go ahead and add it. Let me get my stick blender. Check the temperature on our oils. They're at 165. So let's turn that off. I don't think we'll need our stick blender anymore. We might. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how long it stays in this taffy stage. This is awful thin taffy. So we might need to stick blend it again. I'm not real sure. We'll see. It's really thin. Alright, I think I'm going to stick blend it one more time. Still had a thin taffy. Whoa. There you go, Crystal. Get bubbles in it. And I've been doing all this stick blending, and my stick blender is not even hot. See where we are here. It's getting a little thicker. Maybe I should have used just a tad bit more alcohol. I think it could use just a tad bit more. Okay, we're getting into the thick taffy now. This is taking a little bit longer to trace. I didn't use as much alcohol with this as I did the last time, so I'm thinking next time I make it, I'm going to have to go back to using a little bit more alcohol. This is taking about 10 minutes, and I'm used to doing it within like 5. So, as you can tell, I do not want to sit here and stick blend for an hour. That's why I do the glycerin or the alcohol method. But it still worked. It's still doing it quicker than what it would be if I was doing this by, just on my own, just with just regular liquid soap. It's still doing it faster, just not as fast as I want it, or as fast as I would like for it to do. So if you can tell, we're in the thick taffy stage. And alcohol is also good to keep your batter fluid. It's real nice for that. It does keep everything moving. It doesn't harden up on you. In my experience with using it so far anyways, it doesn't. It does really good with keeping everything fluid. It does get thicker than this though. So. We're just in the thick taffy, so it should any minute now trace. This is the last stage before it traces real good. We're at 170, so the temperature is up there. I might just go ahead and put the lid on, let it cook for about 15 minutes, because heat and agitation is what makes it trace. And we're at that last stage. I really don't think stick blending at this point is going to do any good. It's too thick for that. But we're at that very last stage before everything comes together and gets hard. Just this stage can take forever. sometimes it goes quickly, and I should have put more alcohol in it than now that I'm actually doing it. So for this, for a 30 ounce batch, instead of 2 ounces of alcohol, I should have put like 2.7, maybe 3. I just didn't want it to puff up on me like it did last time, and I had to run to the sink real quick. And I know that I can get it stirred down now. That's not a problem. That's why I took it out of its crock to actually mix it. I didn't want it puffing up on me. And this sage seems to be taking forever. So I think I'm just going to put the lid on it and let it thicken on its own. Just keep my eye on it, make sure it doesn't puff up or anything, and then we'll be back, guys. It's been about 15 minutes, and I went and did a little bit of research, and my research said that the more hard oils you use, the thinner your batter is going to be with the alcohol method. So I thought I had done something wrong, because look at this. This is really thin. This is staying in taffy stage. But I referenced my book from Catherine Failors, and then I did some research on Google, and the harder the oils, like if you have more hard oils, then the soupier your batter is going to be if you use the alcohol method. So thank God I didn't do anything wrong. I thought I did it wrong, but I didn't. I just have a high percentage, 85% of coconut oil in here. So, you know, the alcohol method with this coconut oil, it made me trace faster, but it's still going to stay in this soupy state, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And it said that it's going to boil instead of, like, you know, cook like a paste. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to sit here and cook, and it will go transparent when it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and start my timer for 3 hours. I'm going to come stir it about every 30-45 minutes. And then once it gets to a translucent stage, we will do a clarity test. So I'm not going to depend on my phenolphthalein, because I did a light access in this. So it's supposed to be like this. I didn't do anything wrong, thank God. I thought I did. But so let's go ahead and put our lid back on. I just wanted to come back and kind of tell you that it's supposed to be like this with the alcohol method. I just didn't think it looked right, but it's fine. So we're going to come stir it about every 30-45 minutes, and I'll come back probably once or twice before it's done, just to show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so stay tuned. I'm coming back because this is doing something really funky. It's actually volcanoing, and I don't understand why it's doing that. See, it's still real soupy, which is normal. I did more research, and everything I've looked at tells me that it's supposed to be soupy because of the high amount of hard oils I have in there. So it overflowed on me. I actually caught it before it got too big, I guess. But it's cooking. It's just rising to the top, and I don't know why. I'm not real sure. We've only been cooking an hour. Everything I'm reading is telling me I'm doing it right. The book I'm consulting is telling me I'm doing it right. It's just the alcohol and the hard oils. And when you use a lot of hard oils in liquid soap anyway, it's harder to thicken it. The more hard oils you have, the thinner your soap's going to be. And that's a concept that I've had a hard time holding on to, because usually, you know, within cold process or hot process soaps, the higher your hard oils, the faster your batter traces and the harder your soap will be. But that's not how it is with liquid soap, guys. It's the harder your oils, the more liquid your soap. So this is good, and it's cooking, and we did a 10% lye excess, so I'm not going to try it with the phenolphthalein. Everything I've researched says that this is going to boil. So I guess since it's boiling, that it would rise to the top. So I think I'm going to keep my eye on it a little bit more. yeah, we totally boiled over, but it only got to the sides out here. It didn't. I come checked it before it got too bad. I got a little bit of soap on my table here. It ran over, but I can clean that up. Alright guys, so I think I'm going to turn this down to low, because I don't want another boil over. So we might have to cook it longer than the 3 hours since I'm putting it on low, but I don't want it to boil up again. It is supposed to do this though. It's supposed to boil instead of cook like a paste because of the alcohol we put in it. I will know better next time that with a high percentage of hard oils, I should do the glycerin method instead of the alcohol method, because the whole point of doing the alcohol method was to get it to trace faster, and that's not the case when you've got a lot of hard oils in the recipe. And this is 85% coconut oil, which is a hard oil. So, this is a learning experience for me too, guys. I've been, you know, I've mastered cold process soap. I've mastered hot process soap. So, I'm really interested in the liquid, and I'm even getting interested in cream soaps. This is a really big learning curve for me. I've made some batches that are wonderful, and then I've made some batches that just darn right suck. Like this is my second batch of bubble bath, because the first batch I did not work. My kids took a bath last night, tried to use it, no, didn't work. So I am trying again, just like with any other thing that you do, trial and error is the way that you learn. So I'm learning, and you guys is just coming along with me as I'm learning. So I'm going to let this stay on low. I'm going to clean up my table just a little bit here, and then I'll bring you back in a little while, guys, so stay tuned. Alright, so it's been about 2.5 hours, and I'm going to go ahead and do a clarity test, because this keeps rising to the top. And it's not going translucent, but this is coconut oil, and mainly all coconut oil, really. And I seen a video on YouTube where a lady did 100% coconut oil, and it didn't go translucent for her either. It just went, you know, stayed white. So I'm going to do a clarity test. So I'm going to get a bit of soap, put it in my container here, and then we've got some water boiling. So we'll add just a little bit of water to that. Oops, I made a mess. And then we'll do our clarity test. I'll clean up my mess in a second. But I went ahead and put 1.5 ounces of lauric acid in here to try to help the bubbles and try to give it a little bit more cleaning power or bubble power. Okay, that's dissolved. Let's get our... And that's clear. That is definitely clear. So let's put it on something. Oh yeah, that's definitely clear. I want to do another one though, just in case. Let's do one with a little bit more soap. So we'll get a little bit more. Make sure we have it in from the middle. So there we go. And we'll add some boiling water. Alright. So I'm just doing it again just to make sure. I think I'm going to test the pH on this, because I'm not getting very many bubbles, and I did do the lauric acid, which lowers the pH. Yes, it's definitely clear. Alright guys, we are done cooking, but I do want to test the pH. If the pH is too low, then, which the lauric acid does do that, then I'm going to have to add a little bit of sodium hydroxide. That is definitely... Oh yeah, we did a lye excess, so look at that, guys. That is definitely above a 12. Let me show you. Well, that's about an 11. A 10 and 11. So, We are testing clear with our soap. Not getting very many bubbles. But see that? That is clear. That's definitely clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of the crock. I'm going to keep the crock on, but I want this to cool down, because we're going to add our dilution water to it. We're going to add about 4.5 pounds, 4 pounds, 8 ounces of dilution water. And then once we get to that point, guys, we'll bring you back, so stay tuned. So I have my dilution water. We are definitely ready to dilute. My borax is in here. This is 4 pounds and 8 ounces of distilled water. Fills it to the very top. So I'm just going to break this up a little bit. Try to anyway. Now, if this gets a skim on the top, this will dilute nicely. This 30 ounces, all my recipes have been tried, you know. The 30 ounces takes 4 pounds, which will give me 3 pounds of soap. And then it takes 4 pounds, 8 ounces to dilute. Now, sometimes I have to add a little bit more water to it because of evaporation. And if there gets a skin on the very top, then you got to add a little bit more water to it. So I'm just breaking this up just a little bit, and it's floating to the top. It's not sinking. That is something that's also unusual. I'm used to it sinking, and it's already getting bubbles, just by me playing with it a little bit here. So it should dilute nicely. I'm going to get all this soap batter, or soap, off my spatula here. I love these little things. These popsicle sticks come in handy so much. They do so many things. I stir my micas with them. I can scrape up soap off my table with them. I clean my cutter with them. Alright. So there's our dilution. And the borax is to neutralize and to thicken. Now, since this is a coconut oil soap, it might not thicken all that much, that's fine, because this is bubble bath, guys. Bubble bath doesn't really need to be like thick, like gel, like the hand soap or a dish soap or something like that. But I put extra borax in it just to try to thicken it up just a little bit. Remember, the more hard oils. What, honey?
Some more bubble bath?
Yes, I made just more bubble bath. The more hard oils you have, the thinner your finished product is going to be. And I have tried so many thickeners, guys. I've tried salt. Salt doesn't work. It inhibits the lather. I tried xanthan gum. Xanthan gum, I can't find out any information on it online. The directions is for to make bread on the box. I got it at the grocery store, and it was very expensive. So the xanthan gum didn't work. The only thing I found that has worked is borax. And borax also neutralizes. And Catherine Failors, in her book, the only thickener and the only neutralizer she really talks about is borax. So I have found that has been the only thickener and neutralizer that I've been able to get to work for me is the borax. Citric acid also works for not diluting, but for neutralizing your soap. But the borax neutralizes and thickens. But I'm not sure how much this is going to thicken, because it is 85% coconut oil. Like I said, the higher the amount of hard oils, the thinner your soap's going to be. So I put about an extra 2 ounces of borax than what I usually put for a 7-pound batch, which this is what this comes to. With the paste and the water, it comes to be about 7 pounds in the end. And I usually put about 3.5 ounces of borax into my boiling distilled water. I always boil it before I put it in here. It just makes things go faster. And you have to put the borax into very hot water in order for it to dissolve. So this time I put 5 ounces of borax. I just used 2 extra ounces, or 1.5, well, how much is it? 3.5, 4.55, so 1.5. Sorry, I had to count that on my fingers. But, so 1.5 extra ounces of the borax to try to thicken it up a little bit, because I know it's going to be very thin. I've learned throughout this experience that if I'm using a high percentage of hard oils, not to use the alcohol method, that the glycerin method would have been better because of the high amount of coconut oil in here, which it did cook fine. It cooked normal like it would regularly, but it didn't go translucent when it was done. That was one thing that kind of stumped me. And for 2, it stayed kind of in the thick taffy stage throughout the whole cook. And I did go research it a little bit. I took about an hour actually and researched it a lot, and just found out that I wasn't doing anything wrong, that it was normal. I had to do a lot of researching because there's not a lot of information on this topic. You know, liquid soaps, you go to find information on liquid soaps, you might find 2 websites or 2 blogs that, you know, that tells you the different things that you can do and the different things that happen. There's plenty of websites out there that tells you step by step on what to do, but there's not very many on troubleshooting. You know, if this happens or that happens or that happens. So you have to go fishing a lot, and you got to put information together. You got to put some from this site and this site and this site and put it all together and draw your own conclusion. It's just a lot of research. So I felt like I was back in school researching a topic with this liquid soap making. I've done nothing but research since before I even got my potassium hydroxide in the mail. And I mean, I'm still researching it. So, I mean, I'm learning as I go, and I mean, I'm troubleshooting as I go. Some recipes I've made has been awesome. Like my dish soap recipe is absolutely awesome. But the bubble bath recipe that I made before this one, I didn't record it, but I made it, and it was a total zoink. I mean, it just was not good. Didn't make bubbles, didn't do nothing. It's just a whole wasted thing, a whole 30 ounces or 7 pounds of soap wasted. So I'm trying again. I got this recipe off of another liquid soaper off online on YouTube. She actually has a video about it, and I kind of took her recipe, plugged it into soap calc, and just seen what her percentages were, and then went to Summer Bee Meadow, because if you're making liquid soap, I strongly suggest you go to Summer Bee Meadow Advanced Lye Calculator and plug your numbers into there. And yeah, so that's how I came up with the recipe. Alright guys, I'm going to stop my jibber jabbering. We're going to let this dilute down. I'm going to bring you back probably one other time to show you how it's diluting, what it looks like and whatnot. And then I'll bring you back probably tomorrow when it's all cooled down and it's ready to be bottled. Alright guys, so stay tuned. I wanted to come back and just show you a little bit. It's only been about 30 minutes, and no, it's been, yeah, about 30 minutes. Sorry. But after 15 minutes, I was here in my kitchen, and I noticed that my soap was bubbling up on my lid. So I ran over here to see what was going on. For some reason, the soap was wanting to set on top of the water, and I couldn't get it broke up very good. So what I did is I took my stick blender, and I just blended everything up. It made a bunch of bubbles. I finally got the bubbles to go down with a little bit of alcohol spray. But I broke everything up with my stick blender. And then it's been cooking for about 15 more minutes. And I can't believe how much is already dissolved. Like there's only little bitty chunks here, and it's getting fuzzy again. Don't want bubbles. But see, there's just little itty bitty chunks about that big. I don't know if you can see that there. Let me see if you can see how big that is. So just itty bitty chunks about that big in the soap. So it should be diluted completely within, I'm going to say, the next hour, maybe 30 minutes even. But breaking that up with my stick blender really helped. So I don't want to move it around too much. I don't want to make bubbles. So we can tell this is going to be a high sudsing soap, because I was just moving it around a little bit and it keeps making bubbles on top. So, remember, I'm going to bring you back. If we get a skin on top, then that means we need to add more water. Anytime your soap is diluted and then you get a skim on top, you need to add more water. And I add in increments of 8 ounces. Sometimes just 8 ounces will do. Sometimes it needs a whole pound. It just really depends on how much has evaporated off. My lid fits pretty good and tight on here, but I've got a little hole right there. So I do have some evaporation, and I can already tell it's evaporated because when I first filled it up, it went to the very top. Now there's about an inch on, down in the liquid. So I can tell a lot has evaporated off. So I'm probably going to have to add about a good 8 ounces or a pound. It just depends on when this gets diluted and how much I'll have to add. So I will bring you guys back when everything is ready and diluted, and we'll see if we have to add any extra water. So stay tuned, guys. Back, and I just wanted to show you the end. This is very, very runny. My borax did not thicken it up at all, but then again, it is almost 100% coconut oil. Well, it's 85% coconut oil. But it's okay, it's bubble bath, so it really doesn't need to be thick. So this is what I had my other bubble bath in. I actually just poured it down the drain. And I'm thinking I probably shouldn't have poured it down the drain. I probably should have kept it for hand soap. But I didn't, so I just wanted to show you guys that what I use. I just use old containers. And this is bubbling up real nice, just pouring it in there.
I did ask nicely.
My kids are staying home from school today. My son's got a migraine. And then my other son's got a fever. Oh, it's a foaming. Alright guys, so that is my bubble bath, my liquid bubble bath. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you like this video and want to see, future videos, please do subscribe and hit the like button. And of course, comment. Love it when you guys comment. So this was another one of my liquid soaps. I got one more liquid soap I got to record, and that was the hand soap. And then we'll catch you on the next video, guys. Bye-bye.